Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to this very special episode of Laja TV. This is special because usually we have one on the first of the month and then we wait for the next first of the month. But this time we're doing something very special, very unique, and we are celebrating some very special people in our life. One guest is already here. She's facing some technical issues, so still we figure that out. Let me quickly tell you a little bit about Laja. Laja, as all of you know, is India's first firm that works with women on their development, their growth, learning, and self-empowerment. The focus here being self-empowerment, because unless you want to empower yourself, there's nothing much we can do. We've got chapters across the country. We've got 5 chapters in Maharashtra, 5 in Gujarat, one in Delhi, one in Hyderabad, and we are always looking to expand into other cities as well. What do? We work on your development through vocational skills training, through learning, through mentorship, through hand holding, through regular audits, and the focus is always being on learning, which is why this episode is very special because we are going to be talking about learning. So let me tell you why we are here. In September, which is like 3 days away, we have the Teachers' Day, which is on 5th in India. And then we have World Literacy Day, which is on the 8th of September. Now, these are very important dates because one, on September 5th, we honor our teachers, we honor our gurus, we write letters to them, we write posts about how great they've been to us and we are who we are because of all the teachers who have made us who we are. And then, why is International Literacy Day important? Because literacy is the first step towards education, right? Without literacy, what is education? So let me invite two seasoned, two experienced, and two stalwarts in the industry, academicians, who have almost, dedicated their entire lives to teaching, to making a difference to the students' lives. So let me first call upon Dr. Swati Popat. She is the founder and president of the Early Education Association India and Association for Preparatory Education and Research. As the president of Fodar Education Network, she leads over 490 preschools and day cares in India, UAE, and Qatar. Dr. Vatsal has coined the term education for early childhood teachers and parents to help them understand that young children need education from the point of view of their development, not just education for marks or for growth, but for development. She is also an expert on the global think tank of Kidzania. And who doesn't know Kidzania? At least those in Mumbai know Kidzania. In her career spanning over 34 years, Swati has authored many books for parents, teachers, and children. Actually, I think when you look her up on Google, you'll find more than 30 odd books that she has authored or co-authored. And I think that is a great achievement.
Thank
Her
you.
most recent works are 2 books on coding for children and books on educators like Jijubai, Corbell, and that word I can't get. You'll have to help me with that. She has also helped train more than 3 lakh children on good touch, bad touch, and more than 60,000 teachers on the FOXO awareness, which is very important considering what's happening around the world these days. She's also a globally awarded early years leader. Thank you so much, Swati ma'am, for joining us. It's always been our pleasure to have you, and it's an honor to have you here on this special episode.
Thank you so
Joining,
much.
thank you, ma'am. Joining Swati, ma'am, is Dr. Kusum Kanwar, who's an honorary doctor of philosophy in education. Dr. Kusum is a multifaceted figure in the education sector and has served in several capacities. He is the founder and managing director of KK Kids Learning Systems, Emirates High School principal of Billabong High International Malad and Santa Cruz, and the head of school operations KKEL. She has been the franchisee owner of Kangaroo Kids, Thakur Village, and Shastri Nagar and Devi. Presently, she is the founder of the Mindful Multi-Activity Center and Arab Skills. She embodies roles of a school director, entrepreneur, and social evangelist. She's a multi-awardee soft skills trainer. She also is an author to amazing books. And one of the recent books that she has written, actually, I'm having a copy of it in my hand, Co-Creating Education, a toolkit for teachers, students, and parent partnership. So we'll have a lot of discussions about all of this. Dr. Kusum also contributes as a national core committee member for the Association of Preparatory Education and Research and the ECA ambassador for school principals. So we have two amazing educators, academicians with us here, and I can't tell you how intimidating that is for me because teachers, who's not scared of teachers? So thank you, welcome to both of you. Thank you for joining us. Yes. Now, let us quickly get into why are we doing this. So let's start with a basic question. I'll come to you, Dr. Swati, for this. How different is it being literate, being educated, and being aware? These are three different things.
So, first of all, thank you for honoring teachers and for helping everybody understand that there is something called a literacy day, because the aim of our country now is to have a Nipun Bharat.
Yes,
Nipun stands for literacy and numeracy. So, literacy, education, and awareness. I think they are all linked, because without literacy, there is no education, and without literacy and education there is no awareness. Literacy in the truest sense is the ability to understand communication, to read, and the ability to understand what you have read and then to implement it.
yes,
So that is true literacy. Just reading A to Z or reading words and reading big big pages without understanding them, that's not literacy. And that is why literacy and education are actually two sides of the same coin. You can't call yourself educated if you're not literate, and literacy is of no use if there is no education and understanding.
absolutely, absolutely. Dr. Kusum, I would like to take this question a little further to you. And
Right.
say, so for instance, a state like Kerala, Kerala is known as the state which has 100% literacy rate. And yet, unfortunately, uh, when it comes to employment, employability, uh, we do not have too many job opportunities there. So this is where I was talking about the difference between being literate and being educated.
Right.
So what do you think about that?
So you know what? When we develop these early literacy skills in children, we we need to develop visual literacy, auditory discrimination, and many more that aid progression throughout. Now, early literacy also involves developing listening comprehension and awareness of print books. So, with time and exposure to books and language, children start to understand the sounds, the symbols, and that make up for reading. So, what we are actually doing is we are just focusing on not the four, you can say, the four skills that we require, four important skills about deeper understanding, contextual understanding,
Yes,
awareness, which often involves emotional intelligence and a lot of social awareness around it. And we are also giving them skills, or we are teaching them literacy without understanding completely the context about it. So for us, education, because it being a broader knowledge, and we are just focusing on skills that probably will on literacy skills that maybe they are able to clear the board exams and
yes,
things like that. Because we also have a case, I mean, and I know this case that has happened in front of me, where we had a 99% a child who got this 99%, but actually was not even able to speak about his achievement as to how and what he
yes.
got. So that is what we are not focusing on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with this, Swati ma'am, I'll come to you. In India, like we have so many states that are situated in the rural outback. I mean, when we talk about percentile and good grades or 100% pass from schools and colleges, we're generally talking about the metros. We're talking about two tier and three tier cities. But what about the rural India, where we've seen videos, memes about teachers teaching gibberish to children, writing it out on the board. So in such places, how important is literacy learning as opposed to practical learning?
So I think both of them go hand in hand. And also, when you asked the previous question about employability,
Hmm.
um, sadly, the maximum number of vacancies right now in our country is of teachers. So government school appointments and even university appointments of professors are still
Hmm.
pending. So
Okay.
sometimes I feel it's a gap of vacancies and people available for those particular posts, which is
Yes.
why then our employment index goes haywire.
Yes.
But coming back to your point, there are three kinds of schools in the villages, etc. One are the Sahoyodaya schools. Then the second one are your municipal schools, and the third one are those which are run by the government. So when I see these memes, we should not paint them all with the same brush, because
Absolutely.
some of these come from schools where there are absolutely no trained teachers. So
Hmm.
for example, when I did my B.Ed in English and history,
Hmm.
and one of my colleagues who joined the course, she turned around and she asked me, English सिखाएंगे ना? So I said, what do you mean? So she said, अगर मैं बीएड कर रही हूँ हिस्ट्री और इंग्लिश में, तो मुझे इंग्लिश सिखाएंगे ना? कि आई सेड नहीं, ये कैसे सिखाना है वो सिखाएंगे।
Ha ha.
बीएड में आपको कैसे सिखाना है
Ha.
वो सिखाएंगे। But she said, no, I have a very valid point. What if my English, what was taught to me, is incorrect?
Yes.
अब यू आर मेकिंग मी अ टीचर, तो
Ha.
आप मुझे वापस सिखाओ कि ये राइट है और ये रॉन्ग है और इसको ऐसे सिखाना है. And I
Wow.
deeply thought about it, that she's actually right, because you are making me a history teacher without understanding whether I have knowledge about history. You are only making me understand how to teach history.
Yes.
So that was a very valid point, and I feel our teacher training courses, the B.Ed and so on, are actually not preparing correct teachers, and we are expecting them to come skilled to us, and then we are just putting a kind of a icing on their skills. We have to teach them really all the basic skills, and then keep on upskilling them.
Upskilling them. True.
That is very very important. We always laugh when we see these memes that their pronunciation is incorrect. Now I would not stress so much on pronunciation, because any accent is
Yes.
very very local. आप एक ऑस्ट्रेलियन को देखो वाटर कैसे बोलेंगे, एक
True.
ब्रिटिशर और एक अमेरिकन तीनों अलग अलग बोलेंगे. So why are we making fun of the vernaculars when they are not able to
Absolutely.
learn something properly? It is more about the knowledge.
Knowledge.
Make fun of South Indians and Gujaratis about their pronunciation. I think as a society, we need to elevate ourselves and understand which teaching is wrong and which teaching is right. मैंने ये vernacular teachers के इतने बढ़िया videos देखे हैं जहाँ पे they have cracked the code of teaching
Yes.
by
Yes.
coming out with games, by
Yes.
coming out with mental games, which they are teaching with everyday objects. So I think this is something we need to understand and not paint them with the same brush.
Absolutely. Very well. Point taken. Kusum ma'am,
Right.
anything to add to that?
Uh, it's just that, when we are talking of developing these literary skills, and, which includes, encouragement of children's communication skills. So, because children can express themselves and communicate through varieties of ways, right? With verbal communication, non-verbal, and then the next step of listening and speaking that comes in. So, Swati ma'am has rightly said about the teacher training, where we lack, or we need to put in more training of skills and of actually the subject that they're coming to learn as well.
True, true. Very true. And I don't know whether you say it here, but teaching by far is a thankless job. You're putting in so much effort. I mean, the kind of
Yeah.
effort that goes into teaching, especially these days, the kind of hours that you put in, not just in school, but when you come back home also, there's so much of preparation to do. And at the end of the day, the parents come to you asking for ye marks kyun nahi bade kind of a thing. So,
Absolutely.
so please, I on social media, publicly, I thank you from the bottom of my heart
Yeah.
for doing a wonderful job that you both
Thank you
Thank
do.
so
you. Thank you.
much.
It's all about empowering minds, enriching lives, and
Absolutely,
nurturing the social emotional learning in education for us. So, it comes from the heart. Swati ma'am, yes, definitely. I know, we all learn from her, and also for me, it has always been a passion to be in
absolutely.
education.
Absolutely. So, Swati ma'am, you have to your credit more than 30, books you've been writing and co-authoring. Are these books born out of a need to educate or to inculcate the right way of thinking?
Yeah, so I'm so glad you asked this. And I'm just waiting to meet my English teachers
Hmm.
uh, who always said my English needs improvement.
Ah,
And I used to get very low marks in English. And I am now raring to show these books to my English teachers because
there you go. I've done it.
this is what education does to us,
Yeah,
Right.
that it
absolutely.
kind of focuses on the wrong things, reduces our
Hmm.
confidence, and makes us believe that we can't do it. So I
Right.
started writing these books because I felt that in early childhood especially, there is no good training in our country, and teachers are making a lot of mistakes. That's why the first book which I wrote for teachers was how to teach so kids can learn. Because one of the complaints that a teacher has is that my children are not learning, my children don't want to learn. And the first book that I wrote for parents was, Are You Unknowingly Harming Your Child? Because a lot of unconscious things are done by parents without realizing that they are because see, we don't train parents to become a parent, and we
Yes.
don't train the early childhood teachers to become a teacher. We don't train them about child development. And
Hmm.
that's why I came out with this term also, kiducation, which
Ah,
means it should be education from the point of view of the child, not what you want, what you like, or what the society wants. So these books, each and every one of them, came out from a need of wanting teachers to know what is right, what is wrong, and what are the solutions. Because we cannot just keep on telling teachers ये गलत है, ये मत करो. क्यों ना करें?
ah,
उससे बच्चे पे क्या impact होगा? What is the long term impact of that? All this needs to be compiled, and when you put it in a book form, most let me be very frank with you, most teachers don't read these days.
oh, okay.
लिटरेसी की बात कर रहे हैं तो एक बार उनको डिग्री मिल गई, then they will say I have no time to read because I'm so busy with my job. And I always tell teachers, the more you will read, the better you
Hmm.
will become in your job. So I've tried
Absolutely.
to keep my books very, very simple, in very layman language, kind of, so that they don't get boggled by, oh my god, what does this mean. So it's very, very important for teachers to read. I always have at least 5 books together which I am reading at any point of time. I'll read a
Hmm.
chapter of this book, then leave it, then go to another book, and I read all kinds. I read fiction, non-fiction, anything to do like biographies. Biographies are excellent motivators,
Yes,
because when you read a biography, it tells you that if that person can do it, why can't I? So it is
absolutely.
excellent, the form of having literacy in our world, because literacy, as I said, is not just about reading, it's about imbibing. So these books have all come out from that need.
Absolutely.
True.
Yeah.
True.
True.
It's very interesting that you said that teachers now don't read as in, but I think if you look at the children also now, very few read, which is very
Absolutely.
surprising.
Because social media, we've made them addicted to short videos. We
Yes.
want everything to be done in short videos. Ma,
Mm,
if you tell anybody also, no, read this book, अरे short में बता देना क्या है.
Hmm.
We don't have that patience. We don't
True.
have that impulse control कि एक बुक जो 10 चैप्टर की होगी, मुझे 15 दिन लगेंगे to know the end.
and
You understand? We don't have that impulse control. अभी हमको चाहिए अभी बता देना क्या होगा. अरे इस पिक्चर का एंड क्या था बता देना 3 मिनट में बता देना. So we've become that kind of a generation.
Right.
Absolutely. So
Yes.
I'll give you a quick example. My 13-year-old daughter picked up The Silent Patient recently. And when she picked it up, I said, I've read this book. So she said, okay, tell me about what happened. So you read it. So as she was reading, she said, oh, this is like so predictable. I said, wait till the end. So today
हाँ,
she reached the end. And then she told me, you know, it was so mind-boggling. I said, yes, that is the joy of
Mhm.
reading a book. You never know what
exactly,
happens.
Yeah,
So
that's
exactly.
yes,
it. Yeah.
we are in a we are dealing with a generation which needs quick pictures,
Yeah.
which means even the reels are 15 what not even 15 minutes. I think it's about three minute videos.
It's
3 minutes. Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Sometimes
shortest
even less
video.
than a minute.
less
Yeah.
Yeah.
than a minute. So here
Yeah.
again, we talk about concentration. I mean, where is the
Mm,
concentration going? You can't concentrate on a certain thing. So
mm,
coming to that, when you're talking about this, Dr. Kusar, in your book, you have covered so many things about so many vital points for parents and teachers to take note while dealing with children. But
right.
again, aren't these ideas, you know, more effective in an urban, ultra-modern society. But what about in rural, state boards, not even rural. Let's not go to the
Mm-hmm.
rural board. Let's talk about
Mm-hmm.
state boards here. Let's talk about the municipal schools. What you
Right.
have written in your book, how how much of an impact, how will somebody who's coming from a municipal board really understand that?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I have this book with me, and this is about co-creating, education. And these are very, very simple. You don't have to wait till the end of, about 100 pages to get an outcome, because after every 2 or 3 pages, you know exactly, where you are and what are you getting at. So, simple topics like I have something on a bicycle. Everyone's ridden that. So when you go through that, lots of people have, called me up to say that you transported us to our childhood. So that is something which is very, very relatable. I'm also for state board schools. Some of the teachers have and principals have asked me to convert this into Hindi, which probably I'll
Ah,
be translating. Something about a dwindling patience and
yes,
as our options are increasing. So we are talking about mindfulness, about minimalism here, resilience, because resilience is something that needs to be built for everybody. If you have something on positive psychiatry, it has to be for every person, every child, whether in an international school, national school, or state board, or even in rural India. We are also talking about something on give your children space to be bored.
yes,
So, that's a very relatable topic which can be done in every situation. We are talking of inclusivity. Has it become a prejudice? So, actually, these are these topics which touch each and every person's heart. It is about gender sensitization. It is about power of conscious choices, which all of us as women, or even as mothers, as parents, or as any anyone like you and me have. So that's that's a part of conscious choice. So what you do today, it's your conscious choice. What I'm doing today is my conscious choice, right?
yes,
So
yes,
when we have this moment of pause, it is for everybody. We are talking about the board to the point of tears. So that's relevant to just about everybody. We're talking of intuition that happens with everyone. We're also talking of SELs. We are talking of finding their own paces. So it happens in every setting. And also why I got this book out. It's a very simple, anecdotal, conversational. It's experiences and stories which are real by real people, and they're gathered from probably even my mentors, like here my mentors are like Dr. Swati. I've got Lena Asher. I've got Joe Chopra. I have, an educationist, who has affected my life. So I have all their inspirational stories. My co-teachers, my students, their parents and friends. So it has got a lot of inferential learning for each one of us, and all our stories are going to be based on what we have experienced. So it's not about, it's this book actually even a 12-year-old has picked up and read,
Oh,
and they
wow,
have
that's
been
nice.
able to connect, in a different way than what you and I will do. So it's for everybody. So
Awesome.
in education or in teaching, whatever we do, or even if you see all our books in ECA, APER, so that connects to every child who's there, to every teacher in any setting, and they are able to relate to it. So that's what co-creating education is doing.
Lovely. And like you said, getting it translated will get you a
Yes,
wider audience and it
right,
will
right,
benefit many more people. It's a
right.
great thing that you spoke about resilience, you spoke about intuition, you spoke about boredom and all of that. So, Dr. Swati, I want to ask you, how does socio-emotional learning take center stage in today's world?
Socio emotional learning is what I call I and you learning, which
Okay.
means when we talk about emotional, it's I. If you don't understand your own emotions, if you are not able to control your own emotions, you will not be able to socialize. You will not be able to understand others. There will be no empathy. There will be no social understanding. So, when we talk about socio emotional, that's why they are always clubbed together.
Club together,
There
yes.
is no social development till you don't have emotional development. I cannot ask a child to make friends, okay, if the child is not happy, if the child has not understood, or is the child is not able to control his own emotions, how will this child make friends and work with somebody else? So
True.
it is very very important. We have, as traditionally as a country, after the Britishers came, have given more importance to academic learning, which is more of grade based learning. But if you see our Indian traditional systems, okay, in the Vedas, the socio emotional development was always given more importance. There was more, it was more about Atma, which means you, and how you will relate to others. What can you do? The Seva. So, Atma and Seva, that is what it was all about. So if you see our culture, it is
Mm,
also about that. If you see
true.
yoga is also about that. Yoga is about breathing, so that your internal body, you yourself are calm, and then you are talking to others, moving with others, working with others. Now if you see the PISA exam, which happens worldwide. It
Mm,
used to be a grade based exam, and it is now moved to collaborative exam. So, which means it grades you more on how much you are able to collaborate with others. So, the world is moving towards socio emotional development, because ultimately I may get 99%. Okay.
mm.
But if I join a company and I am not able to control my anger or my boredom, and I'm not able to work with a team because of my ego, I will not go ahead in my career.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, my socio emotional learning has to be on par with my academic learning.
Yes.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I won't be a success. But what parents nowadays want is only academic learning. बस उसको marks मिलने चाहिए,
Marks.
बस उसको marks, and there are suicides happening because of that.
Yes.
Again, suicide. Why? Emotion. You are not able to control your emotions. You are not able to find a solution for your emotions. You're not able to seek help at the right time because of your emotions. So,
Right.
this is, I think, one of the most important aspects of education and literacy. It's
Yes.
called emotional and social literacy.
Yes. So true. Actually,
So,
in the month of September, there is also World Suicide Awareness Day.
right,
And
right.
what is interesting or what is amazing is that while we have days like this, we have celebratory days like this, uh, unfortunately, topics like these get spoken about on that day,
Yeah,
and then they're lost.
Yeah.
So I
absolutely.
think there needs to be a change in that also. Dr. Kusum, to you, in this
Right.
21st century, literacy has moved from just the written and the read word to so much more. We are talking about digital literacy, financial literacy, media literacy, scientific literacy, and art literacy.
Mm,
So how do we find a solid common ground without losing the importance of
right.
knowing versus understanding?
Absolutely. So I'll also, like to add to what Swati ma'am just said. So actually, it is the IQ that gets you, in any of your organizations, but it's the EQ that keeps you there. Also, when we are talking about suicides, it happens when there is an imbalance. Your emotional, your psychological, and that the mental well-being is not okay, and so that definitely impacts your cognition, your perception, and eventually your behavior that leads you to this. And also, when we are talking of SELs, we are imagining a world where everyone is equipped with SEL skills, where Ms. Swati spoke about empathy, she spoke about compassion, there's resilience, and these are fundamental again in reading and writing. So if we incorporate all of this, these SEL skills in the literary skills, it definitely makes a difference. So in a world where conflicts are resolved with understanding rather than aggression, also when we have relationships that are built with mutual respect and kindness, and communities thrive on collaboration and support, like communities like yours. Now, coming to the importance of integrating literacies, say like combining your digital, financial, art literacies with your critical thinking, your emotional intelligence, and social awareness is very important. We cannot understand them if we only compartmentalize them or we box them.
Yes,
So when we focus on the contextual learning, making learning more relatable and memorable, it stays on. Okay, we need to have an interdisciplinary approach. So it's like, what we do in schools is you have you take up a topic. So even if you're doing literature, say we starting from grade one, if you have like a cat in the hat, and you have all these topics, and then you have divided them as interdisciplinary, where you get in your science, your history, your math, and a whole lot of things there. So that this interdisciplinary approach is where we merge, where we are merging subjects for more comprehensive understanding of the world, and where we are combining art and technology to explore digital art or creative coding, is when it helps a student, right, or a child. Now, when we emphasize on soft skills, like we're talking of communication, we're talking of collaboration, we're talking of problem solving alongside technical skills, that's when actual learning happens. Also,
mm,
encouraging a culture of curiosity to question and seek answers, right?
yes,
Also, we are not balancing consumption and creation. We're only consuming, right?
yes,
So by balancing creation, I mean so much as we consume, we need to create content. We need to promote active engagement and deeper understanding of things, so that we are contributing to it. Now, also continuous lifelong learning, and to encourage skill development,
yes.
and also assess understanding in real world scenarios, which we are not doing. Mentorship and guidance, right, it's so important. So
So
all of us
important.
need to give that kind of time, and always offer invaluable insights, support. And there's some trend that I saw lately is, where we are not welcoming students or young students to research, and come in for, you know, to understand what is happening in the real world. So when we have these kind of school policies which say that no, you can't come and observe my students for XYZ reasons, then where do these children who are aspiring researchers, or they are into their streams,
Yes,
where do they get their
very
information
true.
and data from?
True, true, true. Very, very. So I said teaching is a thankless job. I think teaching is a never-ending job. because you're not just
Absolutely.
teaching history or geography or math, you are teaching so much more with also moving with the changing times. You have to change yourself. You have to learn, upgrade, and learning is a lifelong process.
Yes,
Literally.
absolutely.
Okay, so now let's come to some fun part. What is the buzzword in the literary world nowadays? What is the buzzword nowadays?
I think
Mm.
publishing books.
Ah,
uh, yeah. So according to me, it's, it's diversity that's emphasizing inclusivity in literature also. Your own voices, right?
yes,
Authors' own experiences, our own perspectives. I would also include promoting marginalized voices and challenging, probably dominating narratives. Focusing on climate change and environment issues, because that's very, very important for each one of us to understand that, because uh, you know anything can happen anytime.
absolutely.
Also self-reflective fiction, we are not doing that enough. That's metafication. And also hybridity, like a hybrid combination of styles, genres, forms, to create innovative literary work. So when I was writing this book, of course, I had two publishers. One of them ghosted because said कि ये नहीं चलेगा मैम, क्योंकि आपका एक स्टाइल नहीं है वैसे लिखने का, and this is what it has to be. So I told him, no, I want it very conversational. I want it as it is, that I picked up from experiences. So for me, it is, these are my buzzwords. And if you talk about the literacy buzzwords, it could be, today it is, AI, social justice issues, media literacy, digital citizenship, etc., etc.
True, true. So there's a lot happening out there.
Yes, yes.
Now,
Biases,
yes, yes,
stereotypes.
absolutely, absolutely. It has been a wonderful, I've had a wonderful time conversing with both of you. And again, I think a teacher's job is it's a big responsibility because you are creating future
Right.
leaders. You know, you might be sitting in school, you might be sitting on your chairs and churning out student after student, but the impact that you leave on each child gets reflected when they go out there and make a name for themselves. So
Mm.
once again, kudos to you both. Congratulations to you both for doing the wonderful work that you're doing. And in addition to teaching children, you're also training the teachers who are going ahead and doing all of this. So thank you so much for doing this. Before we end this episode, one word or one sentence that you would want to have our viewers think about, something that you want to leave our viewers with.
I would say ask yourself on every Sunday, which book did I read last week, and what am I going to read next week?
Yeah,
Great. So
yes,
for me, it is. So for me, it's more about co-creating. It's collaboration, to work together to create cohesive learning systems, for all learners, for all everyone, so including me, right, including you, including everyone. Also flexibility, that is to adapt to an ever changing digital landscape, and be curious and always a continuous learner. Focus on the core values:
yes.
empathy, we got kindness, we got gratitude, we got compassion, and definitely resilience and responsibility in this digital world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Swati. Once again, it has been an honor to have you here. Dr. Kusum, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It's been a pleasure having you both here. And I can't tell you how blessed I feel today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you
Pleasure's
very
all
much.
ours.
Thank you.
Take care.